Welcome back, everybody, to Unfiltered HR and the fourth episode of our 5-part series this summer on how better HR can and should work for your business. Summer's ending, Jen. You know it's not ending though?
Bill season?
Yeah, bill season's getting started.
So if you can't tell, we are big Bills fans, and I'm actually just like, I'm smelling the Orchard Park. I'm smelling like the whole stadium right now as we're speaking of it, so I'm super excited. I'm not sure how much I'm going to contribute to this one because my mind's going to just be thinking about
Bills.
Yeah, what we should be doing and what plays we should be having, but I mean, you know, we're just, you know, common fans, just natural fans, and if you're not part of Bills Mafia, we get very upset.
Well, let's talk about plays for business. How about that?
Let's do that.
And as summer's ending, you know, people are getting back into the office, so we're going to be wrapping up the next few episodes of the series with some of the homework that you did from the summer and tips for really how to integrate that homework into your business. And that's really the topic of today's episode.
Absolutely. And you know who else gives homework? Sean McDermott.
He does, yes. And it pays off, and it's going to pay off this year, I think, potentially.
Absolutely.
Super Bowl. All right. All right, so let's get into it. So you guys did your homework from the summer, and hopefully that included the previous episode assignments. If you haven't watched those, go back and take a look at those. And we're going to talk about today here at the Haus how to integrate that work into your business so it actually makes an impact for your business. So on that note, Jen, yes, let's mention where we're at. We're here at the beautiful Haus in downtown Buffalo on Main Street, another co-working space in Buffalo. So if you watched a previous episode, we were at Hansa. Today we're at Haus. They have some great outdoor space here with a patio. So if you're looking to get out before the summer ends or the weather turns, come down to Haus and work outside. They also have great indoor space. Free beverages, adult beverages in the fridge.
Absolutely.
Lots of perks.
You know, if you see me like randomly swatting, I'm not swatting at Emily for anything she's saying. There are some bees here, and I'm going to try to act like an adult and like they don't bother me.
Yes, it's all good.
Like Patriots fans.
That's true. Just swap them out of the way. That's what the Bills defenders are going to be doing, right? All right. So let's talk about your business and putting the homework into action here.
Sure.
So you guys did a lot of work, hopefully this summer with the other episodes, in coming up with a really tangible business mission, business values, defining those, and then from there you took those and you really defined out job specs for each role in your business, what each key seat is, what the accountabilities of each of those seats are, and then from there, hopefully you spent some time after that going and developing policies for behavior and governing behavior in your business based on your core values. So today we're going to talk about how to really put that into action and make sure that that's kind of threaded in the fabric of your business as you operate each day, to make sure that everything you're doing is aligned with those missions and objectives and values, right? Because that's the point here, Jen.
Absolutely, and there's a reason why you took the time to do the homework and got to the mission and the values is because those are important to you, and it's important to how you run your business. It's important to have the management represent that as well. And I think sloppy is the wrong word, but people get distracted and busy, and those don't become, you know, as high a priority. Mm-hmm. And that starts to slip, and then it affects the whole business. So we're going to talk about just always sticking to your plan.
Yep, and if you build these things into the fabric through processes and materials that you're constantly using and reusing, regardless of who's doing the hiring or performance management, that'll eliminate straying from those objectives, right? So let's kind of go through the employment life cycle and talk about how to build that in. So the first, Jen, is hiring. So obviously the best way to kind of keep this stuff out of your business, misalignment out of your business, is to build this into the decisions you make on how to hire and who to bring into your business. So that starts initially with the job posting. So in that job posting, you want to make sure that the requirements that you're looking for, the qualifications you're seeking for the job based on those job roles that you defined are expressed and advertised in the posting as being required. Secondly, make sure your values are in there as well, and your identity and your mission, because again, not only does someone need to have the experience, the skills, they need to be a values and attitude fit as well. And you really want to be unapologetic about that because, you know, in my opinion, Jen, working with clients, some of the biggest misfits are the attitude fits, and those are also the hardest to kind of fix later and really the less likely that you can fix later. So you want to make sure that you advertise who you're looking for, and that includes attitude, fit as well.
And that's from the beginning. Before you're even hired, nothing's a surprise. Everything is on the same page, and everything is also in writing.
Yep.
It didn't just get talked about in the interview, but it's in writing, and that can always be referred to later on.
And speaking of the interview, the next step in the hiring process is the interview. So make sure that the questions you're asking to determine whether someone is a fit do reflect questions that are going to get to the heart of whether someone has the value fit, the attitude fit, or the job experience fit. I just published an article on better interviewing skills. So if you want to check that out, those would be good tangible tips as well. But make sure your questions are driving at getting answers that determine those things.
And that article is great that Emily's talking about. We'll make sure that we link that up as well on this page of the video. But it's so important to have that in place. And I don't know where I was going with that. I'm sorry. You're going to have to cut that. I'm sorry. Oh, the interview. Sorry.
You can cut this, right, Joe?
Yeah, you're going to have to. Joe. Yeah, sorry about that. There's a reason that you go in to the interview with the plans. Don't just Google what questions to ask in an interview, because there could be 100 questions, but they might be so vague, and it's not getting back to, again, your values of what you're looking for.
Yeah, the questions that you ask in the interview should be custom fit to your business and all that homework that you did in the end, right? So again, make sure that they're aligned with and driving at those things and getting to the heart of whether someone's a fit for all those things.
And it's important to be, besides proficient at Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel, I mean, those questions may, have to be asked, but this goes way beyond that. And that's what your article talks about.
Yep, true fit, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, Jen, so you've hired someone, they're working for your business. Maybe you're, watching this video and watching this series, and you already have hired many people that are working for you. So the question is from there, how do you further enforce this homework you did, and really the motivation and the reinforcement and discipline of making sure people are being held accountable to the job fit, but also the values and the attitude fit. And that comes into play in integrating all this work into your performance management processes. So we're talking disciplinary procedures, we're talking performance reviews, coaching sessions, whether they're happening on a weekly, one-on-one basis, a quarterly basis, an annual basis. The material that you develop for those processes should reflect, again, what are the key accountabilities for the role from a task standpoint, right? Is someone performing effectively in the job and getting it done? But also, are they doing the job the way that you would like them to be doing it? As we said in the last episode, it's not necessarily about if you're getting the job done, but also about how you're doing it. Are you people? Are you violating core values?
Nothing.
So,
Patriots fan.
Yes, so you want to make sure that the core values, the mission, the job skills that are required, the job objectives are all reflected in that performance management material.
As far as performance reviews, do you have any suggestions on how often they should be, or is it just completely what's convenient for the business owners, a certain amount of employees, or how would you suggest they structure that?
Yeah, so if you're revisiting those once a year, that's probably not enough, right? And that's why, integrating this stuff into additional practices and material is helpful rather than just an annual review.
So much can change throughout the year.
Sure.
And especially, the past couple of years, and things are constantly changing. I think it's important now more than ever that employers keep checking in with employees for multiple reasons.
Sure. And, you can't really expect people to understand or remember what's expected of them from a job task standpoint or a value standpoint, or even give people a real opportunity to improve unless you're letting them know in a timely way when they're not doing those things. So probably regular one-on-ones with managers, even if they're informal, not using any type of review document, is necessary. If not weekly, bi-weekly, at least monthly, quarterly. And then, of course, the really robust performance review process can occur annually.
Did you hear my watch talking? I'm sorry, you may have heard it. Siri said she didn't hear you. If you could speak up. So,
yes, doing reviews on a regular basis other than just annual, reinforcing those things much more frequently than annually is certainly going to improve your chances that someone's performing the way you want them to perform.
And you can have that as an opportunity for both the skip levels, where an employee is talking to a manager above the manager, your manager's boss, because a lot of things can be communicated that way as well. And I think with employees, they kind of have their pick right now of where they want to work. So it's really important that employers are staying in communication, but also, not getting lazy, sticking with that plan, and not having some shiny object like you talked about in the article being an attraction to hire somebody, maybe a cheaper salary, or they're great at Excel, but their values or the way they answered questions on resiliency or things of that nature didn't fit. Don't let that cheaper salary, it's just going to come back to not work out.
Right. Yep, that's absolutely true. And I think one thing that was important that you said there, Jen, was about reinforcing too. And I think it's not just about disciplining employees or coaching them or counseling them when they're not meeting these expectations, whether job or behavior. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's also about giving positive reinforcement and positive feedback when people are doing a good job, and advertising that in the organization as well. So reinforcing through promotions, bonuses, employee recognition programs, those are all things that would help as well.
Absolutely.
And we know that Sean McDermott's doing that on the field every day too.
Obviously. I wasn't thinking about that earlier at all when I lost my train of thought.
We're gonna make it through the bees.
We're gonna make it through the bees eventually. They're attacking our marketing manager over there as we speak. But if you hear a yelp,
Joe's gonna make it.
Yeah.
All right, Jen. So a last note that I want to talk about is just integrating this into reinforcement, especially with your leadership and management, right? So whether that's formal training with those individuals or reinforcing it in the reviews with those leaders or managers. Those are the people, your leaders and managers, that interact with the employees and the team. This is a fun episode today, guys.
This is.
And the staff on a regular basis. So make sure that they know what the expectations are for the positions, but for them, and also values and behavior. Your managers are the ones that are really, thanks, Joe, going to be reinforcing it on a daily basis. And if they're not doing it, then it's certainly not getting done. And this isn't the job of one HR person, one owner to be doing. It needs to be felt, and again, the key word here is integrated throughout the behavior and practices and materials and processes within the whole business when it comes to people, because that's the only way that it's going to continue to exist on beyond this homework that you do and an initial rollout that you do as a result of that.
Absolutely. And attitude affects, is reflected by the leadership. And that goes without saying, but it's so important. And I think that if you have a structure where you're meeting with your employees on performance reviews, and we said, annually is not enough. So if you have it twice a year or quarterly, would you suggest meeting with the supervisors and managers more often than that?
Yeah, I think doing a regular training with your managers and leaders each year to reinforce policy changes or expectations or goal setting or initiatives within your business is a great idea, just to make sure those people are on the same page, because again, they're really the front line of the business and making sure all goals and expectations are communicated downward and reinforced.
Excellent. Yeah, and they may be seeing things and hearing things that you are not hearing because you as a business owner have 21 hats on and you're running all around. So,
and aside from that, just from a legal standpoint, which is the other fun side of HR and people operations, they need to know what they should and shouldn't be doing as well, with updates on policies or legalities of employment law, which we know are changing on a regular basis now. Yes. So for that reason too, just from a risk management standpoint, doing that training with managers on legal but also best practices is a good idea.
Absolutely. And the New York HERO Act is an example of one of those. And both Complete Payroll and you have a lot of information on that, and we try to help business owners make it as simplified as possible. They can be very overwhelmed, but we have templates and things that we can walk you through that. So definitely follow Emily and follow on Complete Payroll, our blogs, to constantly have those updates that are important.
All right, so just to recap, you know, the key word here in this episode 4 of the 5-part series, is integration. So take that homework and build it into these processes. Of course, we're always available if you're looking for tips on how to do that, and help in developing some of those materials. Otherwise, I think we'll see you next time. I think we survived this episode, Jen.
I think so too. But we're gonna do the next one up here too. So we may have to like run some laps and like get out.
Yeah, resilience, perseverance. That's also the key to Super Bowl win this year.
That's right. You can't end an episode now without Go Bills. So the next,
Yeah.
until the season's done. I don't even know why we ever stopped saying Go Bills, to be honest.
And Bills fans know about resilience, right? All the suffering we've done to get to this point.
It's true.
Total sidetrack.
We'll be there.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Go Bills.